Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome to the first chapter of my Let's Play for Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers, the 20th Anniversary Edition. Now, I should note here at the start, this was not a game I anticipated filming. My friend Jeff Hillary, who edited my first few Let's Plays and inspired me to begin filming these in the first place, already did his own series on the original Gabriel Knight trilogy, and I didn't see any need to try and one-up him, but then I played this 20th Anniversary remake, and it is an entirely different beast. It is the same game, basically, as the first Gabriel Knight game, but it has new graphics, new puzzles, and, perhaps most interestingly, new voice actors. Now, this is notable because the first Gabriel Knight game was probably the first, or at least one of the first video games, to feature an all-star cast of professional actors lending their voices to the characters. And the cast of the original Gabriel Knight game, it was a dream team of casting. There were lots of big names, not one bad actor among them. The problem is that while all of the actors were good ones, the casting was a little erratic as to who had what role. So for every bit of brilliant casting, such as Michael Dorn, Worf from Star Trek The Next Generation himself, playing the intellectual yet physically intimidating museum curator, you'd have something like Leah Remini. I think that's how you say it, Remini. She played the wife on King of Queens. She was Stacy on Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris's summer crush. I'm dating myself a bit with that reference. But they had Leah Remini, tough Italian chick, playing Grace Nakamura, the graduate student daughter of a family of Japanese immigrants. Bit of disparity there. And then you have the lead, the hero himself, New Orleans native Gabriel Knight, as voiced by Tim Curry.
Ooh, baby, I love the way you move.
Yeah, so the Gabriel Knight series is remembered for being delightfully cheesy at times, but a solid piece of work. And the voice acting for this remake, it is different, but it is no less skillfully applied, even though it has a completely different cast of actors, and they did a good job on getting sound-alikes for all the main roles, even at the points where it really didn't make any sense. But with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And I'll thank you for your indulgence on this static background, but as you'll see from the opening screen, this really wasn't something I could talk over easily. there we go. Credits being where credit is due. So here we start. New Orleans, French Quarter. Day 1. I dreamt of blood upon the shore, of eyes that spoke of sin. The lake was smooth and deep and black, as was her scented skin. And this poetry is leading somewhere. If nothing else, it does give you a hint what to do some days when it's not entirely obvious. Does any place still have newspaper boys anymore? Seriously.
I bet. Just a minute. It lives, I see. Do you want to speak with Lolita? I'm sorry, but Gabriel's allowed. I mean, he's out. You know, you could do better. I know I don't know you, but you could do better. Goodbye. Good morning. You look like hell. Did you have another nightmare last night?
Yes, because having nightmares is what I do, apparently. 7th damn night in a row.
I told you, it's that voodoo book you're researching. That stuff can seriously screw with your karma.
Unfortunately, I don't think my readers would go for a horror novel about fluffy bunny rabbits. So voodoo it is.
You mean your reader? She lives in Wisconsin, doesn't she?
Bite me.
Hey, what goes on in your bed stays in your bed as far as I'm concerned. I have messages for you when you want them.
So, yeah, this is our hero, Gabriel Knight. Unsuccessful author, rare bookstore owner, womanizing asshole. And, quick little note about the interface here. Left click on something to bring up all of our options, which include looking. And it looks like my options from the previous playthrough, when I played through this for the first time to make sure I knew what I was doing, have held up. Because we do get some very nice options here. There is a hint system, dialogue subtitles, cutscene subtitles, tutorials off. Change the font size, you can change the language. I'm going to go ahead and turn everything except the voice acting down a bit. The better to hear me, because that is why you're watching this, right? And I have the narrator voice turned off for a reason. And that reason is that the narrator that they have for this game has a willowy, old lady, Jamaican accent. Well, it sounds Jamaican to me. It might be a New Orleans accent, but it sounds like Miss Cleo to me. So just to show you why I have this turned off.
Handsome, isn't he?
You've already got me, you lucky devil. Like I haven't tried. Don't mind if I do.
Do what?
Oh, nothing.
So yeah, that's the pickup icon, obviously.
Gabriel can't see a way to use that. The books on the table have been chosen for their special appeal. Recent fiction by the biggies. In other words, nothing written by Gabriel.
Yeah, man, call now and I tell you your future. And as I try and do that voice, I come off sounding like Hans and Franz. But I am not here to criticize the narration. I am here to pump you up. Okay, so with that done, let us go ahead and go back to settings. Narrator voice off. You're welcome. Anyway, Blessed Caffeine. And I can make myself a cup of coffee anytime I darn well like.
Good coffee.
Okay, now we're going to get into a morning routine as this game progresses, and the first thing we do is get a cup of coffee and read the newspaper. Because believe it or not, the newspaper will be important. Partly because of the news, but mostly because of our horoscope, because for once, the horoscope is actually important. Anyway, our...
Right.
The thing is that even though I have the narration turned off, it still times the text description to match the length of the narration. So we missed that there, but we can still read the story here. Voodoo murders terrify residents. 6 murders in 2 months have pushed the residents of New Orleans into a cold state of fear. The crimes have been dubbed the Voodoo Murders due to the ritual trappings found at the crime scenes. The police have no leads, but they said in a press statement today that the victims are all out-of-towners. That's cold comfort for natives who have been locking their doors at night and leaving the once rollicking streets of the French Quarter deserted. The mayor has promised to switch for resolution of the case, but so far neither the NOPD or the perpetrators seem to be listening. And the Aquarius horoscope says, potential storms ahead, proceed with caution, do not get involved with anything new at this time. We are, of course, going to ignore that completely and note the date, June the 18th, 1993. Okay, and we have a counter here, which we'll go ahead and look under.
I practically own stock in these guys.
Yes, it's going to become a running gag that Gabriel owns nothing but white t-shirts and jeans. Well, almost. And
Gracie's resume. She was way overqualified. And also the only person who applied.
keychains.
Those keychains were for a promo I tried once, before I realized it was hopeless. You can't take 2 steps down Bourbon Street without ending up with a strand of beads.
And this whole little counter area is a new addition to the game, which, it's a nice little addition. It makes it a little easier to find a couple of items that we need to pick up, but also gives us a little bit of insight to Gabriel's character.
Fun times. I don't use hairspray. Nope, not me. I forget where that came from, but seems like a nice place to visit. Just a few self-help books. That one on top was a joke gift from Mosley.
And that one, of course, says fear of commitment.
My spare motorcycle gloves. Someone left those here after Mardi Gras. Local interest piece on the store. It didn't garner the sympathy sales I was hoping for. Someone left those here after Mardi Gras.
I'm detecting a trend here.
That's from Gran. She likes to think it means someone's watching over me. I'm not so sure about that, but I don't have the heart to get rid of it. I always had a thing for St. George, the one who slew a dragon. Yeah, it's probably bigger than this little guy, though.
Yes, the name of Gabriel's store is, of course, St. George's Books. And there's a New Orleans guidebook here, but really there's only 2 things we need to pick up from here.
The Blake Backlash series. My literary claim to fame, such as it is.
And it's still fun to look at all these.
Not so lucky for the rabbit, was it? Mind if I borrow the magnifying glass?
No, Sherlock. Just bring it back when we get the next estate shipment.
I'm going to take the tweezers for a bit.
Good. You're beginning to look a bit scruffy.
And apropos of nothing, we're also going to...
Cute gargoyle, eh? Life is too short to talk to ugly statues.
You're
You
no
never know
prize
it by the
either,
women
pal.
you date.
Heh. The gargoyle has no function but sheer ugliness, not unlike, oh, never mind. And just for the fun of it, we're going to look at this bookshelf over here. Where there is a book of German poetry. A book of German poetry that once belonged to Gabriel's grandfather. Gabriel has always found it strangely compelling. And operate it.
Drei Drachen kriegen in meinen Schlaf, die Seele wühlen sie lebendig zum Fraß. Feurigen Atems, gespaltener Zunge, genießen sie jedes Mal.
That's nice. Kinda creepy, though. Who's the author?
Heinz Ritter. I'm not sure what it says, but I get the feeling this guy was one sick puppy.
Foreshadowing. Thankfully, we have a German-English dictionary to try and translate some of that.
Spiel means game. Interesting. Reise means a journey. I wonder if I'll ever use this stuff.
Well, some of it.
Besessen means possessed. That's handy to know. Drei means 3. Besessen means... Himmel means heaven. Huh.
Gott im Himmel!
Drachen means dragons. I wonder if Mosley would know he was being insulted if I called him Drachen Breath.
So yes, that one poem, Drei Drachen, 3 dragons.
Hey, that's interesting. Snakes can sense their prey by vibration.
Did you know that medieval legends about dragons and giant worms are actually based on snakes? You know, dragons, devils, sea monsters. They've always been associated with snakes.
Grace, get a life.
Shockingly, this will also be relevant later on. So let's see, we got Faust, Siddhartha, also Sprach Zarathustra, which kind of rhymes a bit. 3 snakes in a skull. Gabriel's father painted it.
What a wacky offbeat kind of guy Daddy was.
So yeah, 3 snakes in a skull. A poetry book that talks about 3 dragons in a head. The box has Gabriel's name on, written in his grandmother's handwriting. Gabriel's father's old sketchbook sits on the top. And in order to look at anything in our inventory, we have to select it and then click the eye icon. Gabriel looks fondly at his father's sketchbook and charcoal pencil. Images haunt the pages of Philip Knight's sketchbook the way they must have haunted his mind. The images touch a deep chord in Gabriel, so familiar are that he finds it hard to believe they aren't from his own subconscious. And of course, to combine objects, we have to drag them together, which does not do us any good, but thankfully gives you some hints about what to do. Items that can't be combined will be marked in yellow, ones that can be used are blue, but note that does not mean that those items can be used together. Anyway, we're going to go ahead to our back room for a bit just to show this off. And grab a few more things that we will need eventually. For instance,
I'll take this hair gel. You never know when you'll need a touch-up.
Because he does not use hairspray, but he does use hair gel. A little cold bubbly and brie cheese is about all Gabriel's fridge ever has in it.
Gabriel, shut that refrigerator, please. Oh, I can smell it from here.
Women.
Oh, and a nice new feature for this game, you can click on your score compass at any time to highlight all the objects in a room that you can interact with. So no more pixel hunting, unless you are a purist like me who dislikes making things easy on yourself. The closet is low with white t-shirts. There's one black button down for those fancy occasions. And we will take that because, of course, we are going to need that black shirt.
I might be able to use this black shirt.
Darned if I know how, but we can pick it up, we can use it. It's Gabriel's bed, unmade as usual. The dresser supply holds a meager supply of underwear and 38 pairs of mismatched socks. A poster on the wall advertises Mardi Gras, the biggest party of the year in New Orleans.
Let sleeping lions lie. I got that cheap at a garage sale. Always had a thing for lions.
Again, a bit of foreshadowing there. Can't select the dartboard, oddly enough. Several dozen books, including a few of Gabriel's novel, occupy the shelves above his desk. Oh, and we can turn the radio on.
I want you to take hold of your prayer clothes. Better yet, take hold of your radio, and let's do a miracle. But first, I want to talk about doing what's right. Those of you who are out there listening,
The typewriters begin to accumulate cobwebs.
Should I feel guilty? Nah.
Every day, this program reaches out into the darkness and pulls lost souls from the grave.
Typewriter's too heavy to carry around.
Oh, but now I don't have to tell
Can't.
you that the Lord
Writer's
does
block.
not come cheap, my friend. So I want you to get up right now. Seek out an envelope, fill it with whatever you can, and send it today. We both know that doing what's right. I ask you, my friend, have you done your share today? Or are you being carried by those dedicated souls who support this ministry with their generous gifts and offers?
Why the heck would Gabriel be listening to this station?
Faith that costs nothing, does nothing. Simply send your gifts of faith to Reverend Bob, and your name will be blessed. Hallelujah. That's it for this week, friends. Enjoy the wonderful, wonderful music, and may God watch over you.
At Giant Discount Bookstore, we discount every title 50%. When you see our selection and prices, you'll never want to shop with those little guys again. The Trio Grandans will hold their annual Gardenia Festival and Tea this coming Tuesday at the Sons of Burgundy Hall. Admission is free. You're listening to KLEB in Nolens, where we play the best music 24 hours a day.
Except for the preachers yammering at you.
Men problems. Someone put a hex on you? Call Sister Cross. Through the power of love and the Lord Jesus Christ, she can fix what's ailing you.
Still waiting for that music.
I want you to take hold of your prayer clothes. Better yet, take hold of your radio, and let's do a miracle. But first,
Yeah. Alright, well, with that done, let's go ahead and talk to Grace.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Alright, now, another little thing to make this easier on newbie adventure gamers. The only things you have to ask about to get points are highlighted in yellow. Of course, just for the sheer comedy value of it, we're going to ask about everything in these conversations because you get a lot more information that way and a bit more amusement, depending on the conversation topic.
What do you know about voodoo?
I didn't know much of anything about it until you started researching it for your book. Now I know that it's active in the city. There's that shop and museum. It can clearly be dangerous in the wrong hands. You should be careful investigating it.
What do you know about voodoo?
I've told you all I know. Sorry I can't be more help.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Just what I read in the papers, same as you.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
You won't get far questioning me about it, Sherlock.
Do you ever have deja vu, Grace? No. Do you ever have deja vu, Grace? No.
Did you find any good voodoo resources for me?
The best in the city are supposedly the Dixieland Drugstore and the Historical Museum of Voodoo. Both are right here in the French Quarter.
How would I ever manage without you?
You? Give me a break. The devil himself couldn't change you.
Well, if the devil had great legs, perhaps. Like yours.
And a riveting personality, I'm sure. If you need any more research done, just ask. It's not as though we're swamped with customers.
Yeah, we're not exactly getting realistic range of expressions on the figures here.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I've only been here 2 months, but I love it. It's so much more alive than any place I've been. It feels like anything's possible here.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
You're the native. Don't ask me.
Do you have messages for me?
Your friend Detective Mosley called. Talkative, isn't he?
Especially with you. What did he want?
He told me to tell you that his mother's maiden name is Humphrey, and that he left some photos for you at the station, at the front desk.
It's about time.
Let me guess. This has to do with the voodoo murders, right? Some kind of inside police information? Did you tell him you'd put him in your new book?
Maybe. A writer has a certain obligation to his readers, you know.
Gabriel, you know you'll never put him in your book. Your main character's a female orthodontist. You're gonna be reincarnated as a pit bull if you keep screwing with your karma.
As long as it's a male pit bull with a really big...
That's enough, thanks.
Do you have messages for me?
You got a call from someone named Wolfgang Ritter. He was calling from Germany. He told me it was urgent. Maybe you should give him a call.
Call Germany? Like hell. If it's really important, he'll call back.
Well, fine. Let's just hope he's not with the German lottery for pitiful American authors.
Does that exist? Because if so, I totally need to enter.
Do you have messages for me?
Your grandmother called.
I keep meaning to get over there. What did she say? Did she sound good?
She sounded great. We had a nice little chat about you.
Grace?
Don't worry, I didn't go into detail about your cardinal sins. Not that anything about you could surprise her. She adores you anyway.
She's my girl.
And she sent over that box on the table for you.
Do you have messages for me?
Dana called and Susie left a message about a lawsuit.
Toss 'em.
Okie dokie. Well, that's all the messages for now.
Do you have messages for me?
I've given everything to you.
Oh, I wish.
Tell me about yourself, Grace.
What do you want to know?
How come we haven't gone out yet?
I'm still waiting around for that lobotomy. Soon as I get it, I'll let you know, okay?
How do you like working at St. George's Books?
Well, it's not exactly a huge intellectual challenge. Although the math in your record books could confuse Einstein. Still, I love old books. And it's a nice way to pay the bills while I explore the city for a summer. If you ever pay me, that is.
What do you do after work?
I either go to my oil painting class or my Tai Chi. You know that.
You can go overboard with this improving yourself stuff. You don't want to alienate us mere mortals.
Oh, I suppose I should just allow my mind and body to atrophy.
Works for me. How old are you?
Old enough to know about men like you.
Just tell me anything at all.
I just got my master's in history and classics. My folks wanted me to go on right away for my PhD, but 18 years of school was enough. I needed a break.
Just tell me anything at all.
I came to New Orleans because I'd read so much about it. I thought spending a few months here would clear my head.
Just tell me anything at all.
I've been studying Tai Chi for 10 years. It's a very spiritual discipline. I'm sure discipline of any sort isn't something that would appeal to you, Gabriel.
Well, unless it's the sort that involves, spanking.
Nothing, I guess. Never mind. So, what's new, Grace?
Your use of mathematics, for one thing. These books are unbelievable.
What can I say? I refuse to be bound by rules.
The strap marks on your bedpost speak otherwise.
How would she know that?
Done anything interesting lately?
By your definition? No. I prefer it that way.
Keep 'em busy?
Not really. If you need any research done, let me know.
Seen any good movies?
I saw a great documentary last night on pyramid excavations.
You mean small, dark places that haven't been touched in centuries? Sounds right up your alley.
Well, it did help me gain a better understanding of your mind.
Burn.
Did I ever tell you that you're actually quite attractive?
Be still, my heart.
Had any customers lately?
No, but I'm sure you have.
You know, you really should get out more.
But then who'd take care of St. George's?
Me?
Exactly.
And that also leaves us with the option to request research, but right now we've got nothing, so...
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
I can't think of anything.
Alright, well, one more thing we can grab before we leave. Gabriel opens the cash register to examine the take, or in the same case of St. George's books, the mistake.
Gabriel, that's all the change I have. Touch it and you can kiss your hand goodbye.
Woman, it's my money.
To you. I trust you can live without this old gift certificate.
Knock yourself out.
Alright, so now we have a gift certificate for our own store. Which, strictly speaking, we don't need at the moment, but we will need eventually. And this strikes me as being a good place to stop. But we'll go ahead and head out the front door.
I've got some things I need to do.
Good luck.
Get that nice little animated sequence as we get to the map of the French Quarter, which right now pretty sparse. We got St. George's books, got the police station, we got St. Louis Cathedral with Jackson Square, the Jackson Square Overlook, the Voodoo Museum, and the Dixieland Drugstore. And we can't leave the French Quarter just yet, because we don't have a reason to go anywhere else. Apart from, going to visit our grandma, because we're a good grandson like that. And this is one of the things that makes the remake very interesting, is that they did take efforts to try and eliminate some of the problems in the first game, where you really wouldn't have any clue where you were trying to go. And you just wind up spending a lot of time wandering around places just for the sheer hell of it. So, we can't leave the French Quarter, but if we try and go to Dixieland Drugstore, closed until tomorrow morning. Try and go to the Voodoo Museum. Post on the door of the museum is a sign saying closed. Their hours list, they'll be open again tomorrow. The original game, you could go to the museum, but the curator would be out, and there'd just be some lady attending the place who couldn't really help you very much. So by process of elimination, our first place to visit will be the police station. And this is where we shall continue next time. We'll see you then.